me sometimes. Oh, shoot. We on YouTube.
Girl,
Okay.
you hit that note. Girl, okay. Let me find out we a girls group too. I love it.
I'm sorry. Caught me off guard. I didn't got it right in. Okay. Welcome to another episode of Soul Filling, where you get your soul fed. I'm Tiffany.
I'm Jasmine.
And I'm Kobe.
And today we are talking about using our voice. We are in a time where it is imperative to use our voice. You know, the election's going on, COVID's going on, police brutality is happening. So many things in our own world is going on. And it's just so important to use the power, which is our voice. So Kobe, you came up with this topic. Let the people know why we're talking about this today.
Yes. So I don't know. Someone said something on Instagram and they were like, you choose how you show up in this world. And I've heard that quote before. I've heard that saying before, but it just really stuck with me this particular time. And it just I guess it was sensitive because of, the election is going on, just like you said, the things that are going on with police brutality, the changes that we're starting to see within work and the companies that we work for. So it just made me think just life in general, just how we choose how we show up, and we choose to use our voice or to just sit back. And so I just really wanted to dive into that today and just, dive deeper into why, if you're not using your voice, why aren't you using it? And then just different ways that you can use your voice.
That's so true. There's so many ways that we can use our voice. And I think we kind of take our voice for granted. According to the definition.
Someone said something on Instagram and they were like, you choose.
Is that me? Oh, that was you. Oh, okay. Sorry, guys. So the definition of voice is actually expressing something into words. So it's just basically expressing how we feel. If we just really think about it, God gave us a voice for a reason. And he talks about in the Bible a lot, like use your voice, speak things into existence. So there's really so much power behind our voice. We talk about this in our podcast about affirmations, about using our voice. We did an episode about that, but it goes so much deeper than that. So I feel like a lot of times we take our voice for granted, which is really not very good because there's so much power and magic in it. But a lot of times we seem afraid. We seem like we're unworthy to talk about something, like we don't know enough. But using your voice could be used, like you said, in so many different types of ways. So I did want to ask Jasmine, Charles, your government name. I know you're passionate about the election this year, definitely. Mm-hmm. So yes. Just tell the people why.
If y'all haven't been listening to like our last 20 podcasts, if you have, you know that the election this year is just like both of y'all just said, and so well said. Like, we take for granted our voice. We sometimes we take our voices for granted. And I even love how Tiffany just put the spin on there and put how it even states in the Bible that, God wants us to speak things, speak truth, use our power. And that's exactly what our voice is. And it's just, I think it comes from, part of this comes from, generational curses that are on us, as African-American people, at one point in time, our voices were not valued. It didn't matter what we said. It wasn't, it wasn't taken, it wasn't taken into consideration. No one, even thought to care, to even listen up. And so some of that conditioning has been passed down, even in the very household. And I was like, thinking, in some certain households, they don't let the youth So the quote unquote, it's like, do as I say. And sometimes it's done to a very extreme extent. Some, you know, I think it's very important to have boundaries in your household. Your child should listen and do, you know, certain things. But then I also know there's a other spectrum to that, how parents don't let their child have a voice at all and, you know, overpower their voice. And so then you translate that into growing up in adulthood, feeling like you have no voice, or, you know, that is crushing that hope that's within that give up mentality, or that we sometimes adopt. And this could not even just be from your child, because this could be from society or wherever you were brought up at. If you were brought up in poverty, in a poverty community, feeling like, you know, this is all life is. What's the point of trying? I've been living in poverty for the last 10 years. The last election didn't get me out of poverty. Why vote? Like, you know, it's like, so our voice is like, we have to still, it's like, we have to understand the bigger picture. Like, this is a point in evolution, and how we use our voice will determine what the future will become. And that's the beautiful part about it. A lot of times we say and I'm just thinking about all of my friends that are not voting, or some of my people that are close to me, that's like, you know, the election don't mean nothing. It's not going to help us. What is Biden done for? Here's the famous Instagram quote, and it was cute. It's not really cute, I'm being sarcastic, but that, you know, Biden was in politics for 47 years. What is he gonna do there? That's been the biggest one. So why should I vote now? Like, you know, he's been there. And so I think about it like this. And I was having this conversation with someone, and they were just like, really, you use a Beyonce analogy to describe politics? Yes, I'm about to use a Beyonce analogy to describe politics. And so the way I see it as, I'm like, okay, yes, although Biden was in politics, Kamala, and I'm just letting you know who I'm voting for. I'm not telling you who to vote for, even if you use it differently, you know. But I was just like, you know, these people have been in quote unquote power, but you know, these are still, you still have to. This is like a job. You have to go to work and you have to abide by a certain amount of rules. And so they were like, you know, he was Obama's vice president. Why he didn't do all this, then that, and the third. I'm like, okay, guys, seriously. When you become the president, I just don't think y'all understand. Like, you get a little bit more different power than just sitting in the Senate. You can actually make a little bit more things. You can make more change depending on what seat of power you're in. And then I even love to go just to see Kamala, and this is another reason I'm giving y'all all I'm giving the people's views right now. So they're like, you know, why vote for Kamala? Blah blah blah. She not even black. She Indian and Jamaican. I'm like, y'all, come on. Like, I'm like, this is stepping stones. Like, Obama wasn't black either. He was white and Kenyan. Like, come on. Like, and so I'm like, but we're still all black, if that makes sense. The diaspora is real. We still all are descendants. And I'm like, this is just stepping stones moving closer to eventually, very soon, someone that is African American, come from a slave descent, like that actual that descent of the culture, the history, that will soon yet to come. But like, can we at least work with what we got right now? If we had to choose, and I'm not saying make this about race. But I'm going on a whole tangent here, and I was expecting to use some of these points later in the show. But girl, it's so deep. It's so many levels. It's just so many levels to why we have to use our voice. And Kamala said it best. She said, think about it like this, and I like to use hierarchies like in households. If you have a mom, a dad, a parent, and you have a child, say that parent has 3 children, you have your 3 siblings. If your big sister tell you to do something, you gonna probably listen. Your little sister tell you to do something, you gonna probably be like, you just have that natural, I'm older, I'm that seniority. And then if your parent tell you something, you like, okay, I'm definitely gonna listen. It's the same exact thing with the presidency. And this is for the people that's saying, like, you know, why Biden's been in politics for 47 years. He admitted to certain things, such as the crime bill. This is another one. I got to talk about all the people's, because this is what the people have been saying. And so for the crime bill, and this is the last thing, and we're going to move a little further, and I'm going to let y'all know the other stuff later. But with the crime bill,
Girl, talk about
I just gotta talk about it. I gotta talk truth, and I had to come out the gates with it. I didn't even know about to do this early in the show, but no, seriously though, with the crime bill, because a lot of Black people, included, especially my Black men. Oh, and this is so much power too. Like, this is spiritual, even in and of itself. Black men have to use their voice. Like, all the unjustness that's happening, that's targeting you, Black men, like you have to stand up even more so. And in the elections, it's always been talked about, like, how Black African American women, we like literally shift the sides of the polls. I want our Black men and our Black women to be there together. Like, and imagine, it wouldn't even be a race if Black men and Black women stood up together and unified and used their voice. And so with the crime bill though, the crime bill, if you don't know what the crime bill is, it was basically the bill that was signed when Bill Clinton was in office, that incarcerated in the 80s, that incarcerated it was the war on drugs, where they were locking up people left and right just for having like very small, minute amounts of marijuana, crack, and I don't think it was cocaine. And so it was like the smallest amounts, and they were giving them treacherous sentences, like life, 80 years over the smallest mundane things. And so anybody today, if you know somebody that do any type of, like, for that alone. So, and this is what I'm trying to say. So he admitted to his wrong, said it was a wrong bill to be passed, but 100 and something people signed off on this exact same bill, and all of them said yes. It wasn't just him. It was not one single signature that voted against that bill. So it was just, imagine you in a classroom, it's like 30 people, and just everybody just compliance because peer pressure, whatever. You just all going no, and everybody like, why he didn't just say no? Yeah, it goes deeper than that. But anyway, moving right along with the crime bill, it locked it in, incarcerated a majority targeting Black men. So they're trying to create a new bill, y'all, that expunges, meaning releases anyone that was locked up for the crime bill or for any type of drug uses. Oh, I know it's marijuana for right now. I don't know about the other substances, but they're trying to expunge that and have these people released. There go our prison reform right there that we've been talking about, that we want as a people. Like, how are we going to get the prison reform and the system changed if we don't, use our voices to act in power, in political power as well? And so with that being said, he's trying to get it expunged. And this quote right here really got under my skin. And it's the Black people got the audacity to be out here voting for Trump. I'm sorry, I gotta say it. I gotta talk about it, because Trump said, everybody want to call out how, see somebody trying to block our shine. They give me calls in the middle of the podcast, trying to not let this information get released. But no, Trump said that the only thing that was wrong with the crime bill is that it didn't lock enough people up. Enough. And you know who they're targeting. So it didn't lock enough of us up. Wow. This type of rhetoric is just like, you have to stand for something or fall for nothing. I mean, fall for anything. And like Obama said, silence is compliance. Choose a side. Like, if you just had to choose a side, just choose one. But the worst thing we can do is just give up our power and say, I don't care who wins. It's the same thing been going on since this, that, and the third. And I got family members that say this, and I just be wanting to like shake them. But it's just like, everybody has to go through their own awakening at their own time. I understand that, but if we can just awaken 1 more, 3 more, 100 more, it's 7,000 of y'all that be listening to our podcast on a daily, and we love y'all. We thank y'all. But how about let's all 7,000 of us go out and march our behinds to the polls, and like really let our voices be heard. And that's all I gotta say. Okay, I'm done.
No, that's good. So we're talking about voting and using our voice. I just want to say this really quickly. Just if you just think about everything that people, just political and voter suppression and everything that has been done to prevent us from voting. Why is that? Because they know how powerful we are. They know how much change can happen when we come together and we really work together. You think about, once they did finally say, okay, y'all can vote, y'all are free, y'all can vote. Then it was, the grandfather clause. Well, if your grandfather didn't vote, our grandfather didn't vote because they were slaves. So grandfather didn't vote, you can't vote. You got these literacy tests. We can't read. We were enslaved for years. Poll tax. We ain't got no money. What's up? What'd you say too?
I said illegal to read. Could be hung for reading.
It could be hung for reading.
Killed.
And then, fast forward, so we just, in August, we celebrated 100 years of the 19th Amendment. So then they passed the 19th Amendment. Okay, women can vote. But then you know what? In that clause, it says they can't discriminate against gender. So even still, so you can't discriminate against gender, but we're gonna come for you, in other ways. Class, we're gonna change, have all these other factors, disability, whatever, to be able to prevent you from voting. So they jump through hoops trying to move voting location, stopping buses, change mail, all of that. They are doing everything they can to prevent us. Just even now here in Houston, the mayor reduced the I think the mail-in ballot thing where you have to go and turn in your ballot to one location. For millions of the people that live in Houston, it's only one location, and that location is NRG. So everybody got it. Yes.
I did not even know that.
One location. So they working their asses off, even right now, today, even in Houston, to make sure that we don't use our voices.
And if it didn't matter, no, keep going. You're right.
I mean, that's so true. And it just makes me think like voice, using your true voice, okay? And thinking about your true is truth, okay? So it's just like they have limited they have limited our voice or try to suppress our voice for so long. And it just doesn't stop here. Like even on social media, you see people, if they post something, they talk about something political, they get banned or they get shadow banned or something like that. So it's even going towards the internet, and I could say it is on both sides. So I'm saying like people sometimes they are scared of the truth. And we think about our history books, the things that we learned growing up in history, like we grew up having to celebrate Christopher Columbus Day and all these other things like that that are in our history books that are just like a false narrative on what the truth of America is. And they wrote those books or rewrote those books or rewrote history so the truth, the voice, isn't out there. And I know there's so many people who are trying to speak the truth. You know that people have literally burned books of truth in Africa. It's because they don't want our voices to be heard. And so what we do when people don't want our voices to be heard, we speak louder. Okay, just like in a meeting, like sometimes, like I remember back when I was working in a setting where there was abundance of people, and somebody I remember saying things like, "Hey, we should do this," and then someone else, no one says anything, and then someone else says the exact same thing. We should do this. Oh, for me though, I'm like, oh, you didn't hear me when I said that? I'm crazy, but that's probably why I was fired from 4 jobs. The thing is, when you speak up, sometimes there's consequences that go with it. Like I remember speaking up at one of my other jobs. I'm like, you said that we're going to do return on investment. We're not getting return on investment. We should change some things. I was fired after that. But it is what it is. because the truth will, but if you continue to live in your truth, you continue to live a freer life, and God is able to open up doors for you. So all I'm saying is, like, the truth in your voice, it may be scary to say it, it may not seem like it's important, but the fact of the matter is, even the Bible says it's important. Even God puts emphasis on our voice. Literally, he's given us the voice to be able to create things and manifest things into existence. So if you're saying it's not gonna work, it's not gonna work, you're gonna have to change that rhetoric up, because that is, you're putting that into the world. Put something into, like, the world that says, oh no, this is gonna work. Because this is how I feel. Things are different. The election is different than any other election, because Trump is he's a different breed, y'all. He don't care about Republicans, don't care about Democrats, cares about himself only. That's it. He will lie to you and say things are working.
And his wealthy people, his wealth, his crew.
His wealth, because remember, his wealth, because there's a lot of people that are in his gang that are now in prison, and he does not associate himself with. So whoever is not even for Trump, or who got in trouble with Trump, he will separate himself for that. So he ain't no day one A1. So,
but I also, yeah, you're right. But I think he still got, every time, you eliminate a few, he still got a few that he working with, that he's still working for them. He's working for them because he did help make the billionaires of the world, the ones that saying, oh, the economy is better than ever because of Trump. And a lot of Black people kill me when they be like, yeah, because of Trump, he fixed our economy. But in the stock, and I'm not saying, when I get to billions and billions, I'm across this bridge when I get there. But right now I'm speaking from where I'm at right now. And for the people that I know that are in similar places, the working class, I'm not even talking about just only people that are in poverty, but I'm talking about just working class people. And this is all demographics. I know many, many different demographics. This is not even just a white and Black thing when it comes to Trump, because this is just like a working class and the wealthy class to him. That's what he sees. And so not only what he sees, but this is some of what he sees. And so he has made it to the point, did y'all know that billionaires that were already billionaires in this past Trump's term alone has gained $700 more billion already added onto their wealth? $700 billion added on as a collective. That's what has increased to people that has billions. So if you was investing, and then a lot of people, Black people, because we don't have that generational wealth yet. Well, some of us do, but on a vast number, that generational wealth where you're born into already having 250 mil in a trust fund, we ain't touched that just yet. And so he is strategically, systematically has made ways and passed laws for the people that know how to use the laws. And this is why he said, I've done nothing illegal, because it's for the information, the select few that knows how to use the system, they have benefited tremendously. And so for Black people to be out here like, I'm just gonna, or any people that's a working class person, I'm not even just gonna say Black people, for all people that's not getting a direct effect of, you can't go to your bank account right now and say you got that same equivalent or even close to. Why are you supporting the tax cuts? I mean, why are you not supporting the tax cuts that they're trying to create to help fund working classes? If all he's gonna care about is himself and his people, why not you care about yourself and your people that you dearly love, that go to work every day, that's busting their behinds, that's small business owners that's trying to get their business off the ground? Why are you not supporting them? Because he's supporting him and big businesses. We ain't made it there yet. So we trying to get there, and in our journey to get there, why not take the available resources that, someone's offering us? Okay, but I digress.
Yeah.
I agree.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
No, I was just gonna say, there's a lot of issues that we're voting on, including what Jazz just spoke on. We're voting for Black, Indigenous people of color. We're voting for the future. We're voting for civil rights, for gun control, for equality, for healthcare, for women's rights, for equal pay, for climate change. We're voting for education, for the disabled community, and just for outright decency. You know, this is what we're voting for. And like I said, I'm gonna post on our story on our. I'll share some Instagram post of where each candidate stands on both. You know, I found some pretty neutral ones, even though I'm, putting out that we need to get Trump ass out. We need to get him out. But I still, found some pretty neutral, points that explain where each candidate stands on both of those, on all of these issues. And like you just said, I know a lot of people feel a certain way about the taxes, and Biden is not this perfect candidate, but is that really enough to still keep this man in office? Like, no, like I get it. We have to hold him accountable. We're gonna have to make sure, Biden does right by everybody, but no, we got to get him out. We got to get him out.
I just think it's just so important if we're gonna just keep talking about the election, and me and Jazz talk about it a lot, we be going in. Okay. But it's just so important to use your voice. It really is with your vote. Because like people don't think that it matters, but it really does. Like you were saying earlier, it's basically it's a game, y'all. You need to choose a person who's gonna get you closer to a greater life. And for me, I don't know about y'all, for me, making sure that kids aren't separated at the border, making sure that, police are held accountable for killing Black people, that I care about people having access to healthcare, because it's hard out here, equal access. And what I'm saying is this time is way different than anything. Trump really did change the game because he does anything that he wants. Nobody was talking about police brutality like we were until this year. White people really didn't know what the fuck we was going through. I don't know how, but they really were like, oh, wow, this is really happening. Like I've heard white people have told me, like, I didn't know this was going on. And so even Joe Biden even said the word systemic racism. Nobody has said this. No one has said this or using this type of rhetoric. So yes, people's past could look different, but look at what's happening right now. What are people saying right now? Who's calling you a thug right now? Who's not calling out white supremacy right now? Who doesn't care? Who said that they're the least racist? Didn't say he wasn't racist. Who said that they were the least racist? Okay, so yeah, I just want people to focus on the truth. We're talking about voice. Listen to what they're saying. Listen to the truth. Don't come up with something that you just something in your mind. Listen to what's actually being said, okay? And then vote for that thing and actually use your voice, because you know why? We need the voice. We need to vote together. We need to be on one accord. And with you using your voice, don't stop after the vote if you really care. If you really care, you don't have to stop after you vote. You can use that voice to now say, okay, now Kamala, Joe Biden, whoever your local officials are, this is what we want. Come together and lobby for something that you want. Because you're not gonna get my vote for this way. But if we're sticking to the same person who literally doesn't care about you, and with this whole economy thing, after the Bush administration, the administration before can change everything. So Obama had to take on the recession from Bush and turn the economy around. Then Donald Trump inherited a great economy from Obama. The next president is probably going to have to fix whatever Donald Trump has. So people are going to take what's good from Obama and call it as their own, and what's bad from Obama and say, oh, that's Obama. So don't get it twisted, y'all. Like, don't get it twisted. Just because people say something does not mean that it's the truth. It doesn't mean that it's the truth. So I just want us to really use our voice, but also not only use our voices in voting, but I want y'all to have hope in your voice, because things are different and things can change. you know, even about what the stuff with the stuff going on in Nigeria within SARS, like young people are speaking up and saying, we're not putting up with this anymore. Things have to change. Police brutality across the entire world needs to change. The abuse of power needs to change. We just want to live a life. And even just speaking about that and just saying, what can I do to help? Whether it's just posting about it, whether it's just calling, whether it's donating. We can use our voice in so many different ways, but just use your voice for good at the end of the day. That's it. Whatever is going to the greater good, I believe you should lend your voice to that. But never, ever give up your power, because that's exactly what they want you to do. Your voice is part of your power. So literally use it.
Man, you gotta use it. Your voice is your power. It's your power. It's your power to transform your life. Like we say at the end of every episode, either for the good or for the bad. And if you see so much bad going around you, all around you, you still have to use your voice to transform that bad around. And like, even so much so to the point where look how powerful, and this is so crazy that our show is talking about using your voice. Trump even said, he stated that professional athletes using their voice on their platforms should be fired. Because they're speaking truth, because they know that we're heavily impacted by our artists, by our basketball players, by our football, these are powerful voices. Once you reach a certain power, y'all, literally your voice carries so much more weight. It has the ability to move thousands, millions, trillions. Is it even, yeah, it's not even trillions of us yet. Well, trillions if we think about generations. When I say trillions, I be thinking about generations ahead, like our kids. So seriously, like, even think about the voices of our presidents. George Washington is still carrying on. We say, oh, George Washington said this, that voice is going to carry weight, versus someone named, I don't know, I can't think of a random name like that we just never heard of. And so we say we use our voices and we use them to speak, like Tiffany was saying, that truth. Like, it's so much going on right now. And I love how Kobe broke down the different layers of this election, the different layers, the different, there is so much more. And I don't want it to just be misconstrued with, because if I do have to always play devil's advocate, I don't know that Trump is actually a racist or not, but from context clues, you have given me like things that just don't sit right in my spirit. Like, that I wouldn't tell someone this or say this certain thing. Okay. My people calling me, y'all stop calling me right now. But I wouldn't say this certain thing about someone that I truly cared about or truly loved. I wouldn't detain a child in a cage, y'all. Like, and that was so real. Like, that situation was very real. The whole ICE, the International Border Patrol, like, this is real. This is a real issue. Like, I teach in a predominantly Hispanic demographic environment. And last semester, right at the time when Trump when he first got in office, and he repealed a law that Obama put in place to keep these people safe. That's why people was getting deported left and right, like in numbers it was above 20 something percent, 30 something percent more than, when Obama was in office, and people were getting stuck at airports. Y'all remember that weird space we were in where you could even travel because you was afraid that you was going to get stuck in another country. And so this is real. I had students afraid. I gotta speak truth, y'all. Like, this is a real issue. They were afraid. They were not coming to school like scared to come to school, even if they were legal. And let's say their mom was illegal, or their brother, someone in their household was not a legal citizen, they were not coming to school at all. And even to the point where it's just like afraid to go and get help at healthcare, afraid to go to the doctor, y'all, because you're afraid that your doctor could potentially release your record so that you can get deported. And like, these are real issues. If you don't vote for anything at all, we can't even see, because sometimes we have to hear other people's story before we can even stand up for ourselves and just, hear our own story and be like, that's enough. Can we just vote for that? Can we just vote for that? Like, use our voice to speak on that. I mean, we have to, I really feel like it's, it goes back to Black power. We have to have power in every aspect. We need spiritual power. We need unity. We need love. We need political power. We need financial power. We have to use all the power within us that God has given to us on all levels, not just some levels, not just in your gift, the thing you're passionate about, but then neglect your health and your wealth and things like that. We have to have power. We have to be a powerful people and using our voice and speaking truth. That's how we have to use our power, y'all.
Yes, I agree. Like, I definitely do agree and believe that our voice is supposed to be used to educate, to empower, and to heal. And it's crazy that you mentioned, hearing other people say things, because you can hear something so many times. Like, I know my mom used to tell me something, so and then I hear from somebody else, and then it would click. It would be like, oh, okay, I think I need to go on and do that. Or vice versa. Other people would be telling me to do something, and it went till my mom said it, where I'd be like, dang, okay, this is what I need to do. And with that being said, I remember prior to starting this podcast that I had a nudge and something telling me that you're going to be speaking to people, you're going to be talking to people. And it was scary to me. I was like, really, me? I got to use my voice. I got to talk to me. I got to say something. Really? Why me, God? Why? And I remember feeling so scared. And then, we started Inspire Fire, started changing lives, started helping those people, the little kids, and teaching the kids. We did, that program during the summer where we were teaching to the men at the Salvation Army. Like, that right there was amazing, to be able to help those men who are recovering from alcoholism and drug abuse, and using our voice to help them, live healthy lives. And I was just like, wow, we are really doing this. Like, we are using our platform to change just our world around us.
That's so good.
And it's something for me, is, your voice and your purpose is definitely one, like, they're intertwined. They're definitely intertwined. And so also with this topic, I just want to encourage people to use your voice to do what it is that you're supposed to be doing, go after. If you have a platform, if you want to inspire people through makeup, through clothes, through fashion, through teaching, through medicine, through engineering, like whatever it is, just do it. You have to do it. And like I said at the beginning of the podcast, you choose how you show up. And so that is why, Saturday after Saturday, we are here, because we are choosing to show up on Soul Filling Podcast to educate, to empower, to heal, to teach, to use our voices.
Yes, and voices are healing. Like, us talking, every day, like, as much as it is for our soulmates, I'm like, I'm gonna get my therapy session on in during this Saturday with my girls. And I totally forgot that we did teach those men, but that's just another thing. Like, even when we were teaching, so me and Kobe, we taught at the Salvation Army about how to eat healthy, basically. But the thing is, a lot of people didn't know, like, things that seem so normal to us through the years. Sometimes people just don't know to read a label. They don't know what's healthy and what's not, because honestly, the media kind of portrays things that are to be healthy when they're really not. But that's just to say, like, you may not want to feel weird about using your voice, but your voice, something that someone else doesn't know, and they need you to say it. whether you think like me and Kobe, we not no experts or anything on health. I mean, maybe we're pretty known more than the average person, but like we're not dietitians or anything like that. But if we were to say like, oh no, we're not going to do this, all those men would have missed out on learning on how to, lower their cholesterol or lower their blood pressure and things of that nature, and now go on to live a healthier life. So don't ever think that your voice is too little to not be heard, because by you telling just one person, they might tell another person, they might tell millions of people, or your voice can eventually get to millions of people. So along with that comes responsibility. What are you saying? Guys, like, there's some things that I personally cut out of Soul Filling podcast, because I'm like, I don't know if that's going to be beneficial to our soulmates. Some things that guests say on our podcast, I'm like, I don't know, this ain't feeding the soul, because we care about what y'all hear, because we know that it's very important. What we say is important, and what we say people cling on to. Just like when your mom says something, you kind of cling on to it. Sometimes, you definitely have to like, is this for me? You always have to do your discernment check, but be responsible for what you're putting out into the world and what you're saying to others, because it will have an effect on them, and they're going to have to analyze it and going back and figure out if they're going to use that for themselves or not. So when you're spewing out hate, or you're spewing out false narrative, or you're just spewing out something that someone else said that you don't know is true, it does have an effect on you. So also with your voice, since it is so powerful, really think before you speak, but always speak with good intent and with truth. So, there's a responsibility that comes with your voice. And that's what all I'm saying is use it wisely, but whatever you do, use it because it's needed. So yeah. And so when we are speaking, also, we need to speak with authority. I was watching a live that Robert Harper was doing one day, and I don't even know who was on it, but he said something to me, not to me, to the entire whoever was on the live. And it really stuck with me. And he was talking about when you are using your voice, speak with authority. And I know as women, sometimes we don't do that. As Black women, sometimes we don't do that because we want to be, people could see us as too strong or too stern or whatever it is, or sometimes we just don't feel secure within our own voice. But the thing is, it's if something comes up, don't, hey guys, I think that maybe we should probably, if it's okay with you, do this. But if it's something that's strong and impressing in your heart, you have to be like, nah, you know what? I really feel like we should do this. And this is why. And have a strongness about it. And the thing about that is, it's like, not only is a practice to get better with using your voice, but also it's okay if sometimes you don't use it correctly. There's this song, all y'all know this song. It's Put Your Records On by Corinne Bailey. And one of the words that really stuck out to me, it says, maybe sometimes we'll get it wrong, but it's all right. So yes, as much as I'm saying, use your voice and be responsible with it, sometimes we say things that are wrong, and sometimes we'll have to use our voice again to say, oh, I got that wrong. We should probably do this. It's okay, but still use your voice. You could always, always everything with good intent, as we always say. But it's okay to get it wrong sometimes. We get it wrong a lot in relationships, girl.
That's so funny that you brought that up, because that's going to be the next thing I want to talk about, is just how our voice even conveys tone, energy, and precision. And I saw a post that was saying, just talk about in relationships, like sometimes, like it was like, I'm sorry, babe. Sometimes I just say stuff and it just come out a little bit more aggressive than what I, intentionally meant it to. Like, it don't be me. It just came out like that. I'm sorry. And I swear that is me. But I was looking on this website, Articulate Persuasion, and they were just, the 5 things they talked about is our voice, volume, tone, pace, pitch, and energy. So when you are speaking, think about who you're speaking to. How loudly you need to speak. Is it going to be the room size? You have a microphone, no microphone. Your tone. What is the message that you're trying to convey? I think when I think about the tone, I think of like poets and how they, say stuff and how they do they just have that smooth voice, or radio people. And so just, your tone should match whatever message it is that you're trying to convey. Do you want to keep it light? Is it bad news? So, you think about that when you think about your tone. The pace, are you speaking too fast? Are you speaking too slow? Like, it's a lot that goes into, your voice that we just don't think about. And so I just wanted to, I love this article. It talks about pitch. What level are you using in your voice? Is your pitch too high or too low for the message? How does your pitch change, throughout the flow of whatever it is that you're speaking about? And then your energy level. Y'all know I'm soft spoken, so sometimes I could be very excited, but I might just be like a Daria sometimes. It just might be very monotone and like I'm excited, but yeah, so just really be mindful of those things.
Me too.
You're speaking.
Me, not 3. Y'all know
I know it don't matter what you
yeah, the day I was on a FaceTime with my mom and brother. It was night, so they couldn't see my face. But I wasn't feeling. I was feeling a type of way about something. My mom was like, "Are you all right?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm all right." Well, I was like, "Damn, how she know?" Like your voice is like your voice really does say a lot, and you're right. The fact that you brought up like poetry and how poets use their voice, like. If poets just use this regular voice, we would be like, what the heck? It's so much more than just the words and being reciting it. It's the feel, the ups and the downs and the lows. So that's really a good point, because a lot of people aren't cognizant about how they are saying things, because sometimes they just come off a little oh, excuse me, that hurt. So that's a good thing to be cognizant about, definitely. So do y'all have any more tips about how to use your voice? I think y'all get the point of this podcast, that we really, really, really want y'all to go out and vote. And
yes.
I think it's crazy because like early voting is so easy. Well, at least it's been for us,
Yeah. Okay. Literally the easiest, like less than 10-minute process you could ever do in your life. They try to psych you out on the media and make you think that the line's gonna be wrapped around the whole planet. And that's what I went in there thinking, like, oh Lord, I'm about to go vote. It's about to take forever. I went in there, I'm like, okay. I get my ID. That was like literally like a 6-minute wait. Then I get to the little machine to go and vote. That was like maybe like a 8-minute process. So I'm like, this was the easiest thing ever. But like to get to the actual machine from my car was like so smooth. So it was unbelievable. I was like, this is the easiest. But that, I guess it's because the early voting. This the early voting, y'all. And if you listen to this today, you have, I don't know how many days, but by Tuesday, you'll have 7 days. When this episode released on Tuesday, we got a week, y'all. We got a week. We gotta get to the game, y'all. Get to the game. We gotta make a change, y'all. Got to 7 days.
And what I liked about what Jazz did when she went voting, she called me and she was like, "Oh, do you want to go voting? Haven't voted yet?" I was like, "I can't even vote in Houston because I vote in Pearland." But even that, like, you can even make a date out of it. I actually caught up with a friend, was like, "Oh, let's go voting together," and then we went out to eat. So it's just like, make it a fun thing. And I think I might do that. There's this one person, and I don't know if they voted or not. So I'm gonna be like, "Hey, did you vote? Oh, if not, let's just go together and we just go get something to eat afterwards." Just make it a fun experience,
Yeah.
People think it's taxing and stuff like that, but lines ain't that bad in Texas for early voting. But where we are, for us, I don't know. I can't speak for everything else, but I just know for November 3rd, do not wait till the election day, y'all. It's gonna be crazy. And so do your best to be able to get out there and early vote and make it easier on yourself, less stress on yourself, have fun, have a dang voting party, and just and do the dang thing. Just because you know what, guys, there are, like, we know people that aren't citizens here and they don't have the right to vote, but let us be the voice. Let us speak up for them, you know, the people who really want to vote and have a say, because their immigration depends on it, you know, them being able to be here depends on it, opportunities. Some people's, half of their families here, half of their families somewhere else. So if anything, just be the voice for the voiceless, you know, where you can.
Man, speak that truth. Speak that truth.
You have to, because sometimes, you know, you got to be, it goes back to the lunch days. You know, I was taught growing up, don't ever let somebody like sit at a lunch table by themselves. Because, you know, we were always the girls like, hey, you want to come sit with us? Like somebody doing something wrong to your friend or someone else, like, hey, we that's not what we do here. Right. Why you talking to them that way? So it go. Why Trump? Why you? How you just gonna be talking about my brothers and sisters like that? How you gonna be talking about my Hispanic brothers and sisters like that? My Black brothers and sisters? Okay, no, like we gotta be the good people in the world to really speak up. Speak up in everything.
Somebody, you know, they got a pre-existing condition, a grandma, auntie, they got some diabetes, an uncle with high blood pressure, anything. Let's talk about it. A disability of any sort. Talking about taking all their benefits away. How they gonna get their prescriptions? How they gonna get to their doctor's appointments? Come on, let's talk about that. You can't do that to them. Cannot do that to them.
I'm about to go on a whole tangent because I think so much, like, yo, speaking up has been a thing, like, for me lately, because, and this is like a little off of the election though, because like when you speak up for yourself in any situation, like I personally hold back a lot. Doesn't seem like it on here, but I personally hold back a lot, especially like in a workspace or maybe like a dating situation and stuff like that. With families, sometimes we don't really speak up and express our truth and how we really feel and what we really want out of life. But if we're not able to do that or articulate that, then we don't get it because you didn't say anything or someone doesn't know that they made you feel a type of way. So like we say with everything that we talk about, everything is a practice. Practice speaking up, practice using a good tone, practice knowing when to say things and when not to say things, but always speak and live in your truth. Yes, something may be going on in work that you may not be able to speak up on, but you can make actions in a different way to be able to move yourself out of that situation or talk to the right people for things to get changed. So whatever you do in every situation, stay true to yourself and stay true to what's morally right in your heart. So
that part, yes.
Well, all right, guys. Anything else, ladies? Because last word before we get off these airwaves.
I think our voices were definitely used. I think
I'm always heard, girl.
Girl, they were heard. They were used by God and heard by all. Yes. All right, guys.
You know, we love them and we're not like trying to force y'all or stick politics down their throat or anything like that, but we just speaking our truth.
Yeah, this is literally about truth, right? Exactly. And I understand everybody evolves at their own divine timing. So, and we still love y'all and keep rocking with us. Okay, so what time is it? It's affirmation time. It's affirmation time. It's affirmation. Y'all, this is your first time tuning in on Soul Feeling Podcast. We always end our podcast with a positive affirmation. So what the heck is an affirmation? An affirmation is any statement that you are using to transform your life. Okay, my dog is in the background. He in his kennel and he wants to get out. So Leo, shh. Okay. So what was I? You're either using this statement for positivity or to transform your life in a negative way. Even in the Bible, it states, let the weak say, I am strong. So on those days when you're not feeling like your best self, you not sure, still speak uplifting things that's going to motivate you, get you from being stuck in a rut. We want to speak things that empower us. I'm affirming that, well, there's 3 of us, and I'm affirming that there are millions, billions, trillions of y'all out there tuned in. And we're going to go ahead and end this thing off with our positive affirmations. So who wants to go first?
I have one. I am using my voice to participate and help the world grow, change, evolve, and heal.
Girl, why you almost took mine? Okay. So mine is, I am using my voice for truth, love, and change.
Yo, why we on the same wave? I'm using my voice to allow God to speak through me, use me to speak truth, peace, and prosperity.
Amen. Amen. Okay.
Let them know where to find us, Tiff.
Yes, use your voice to tell other people about Soul Filling Podcast. That's SOULFILL.
Yes.
Everywhere. We're on Spotify, YouTube, Google Play, Apple Podcasts. And please, guys, if you are listening to us on Apple Podcasts, give us a 5-star rating. Y'all really been rocking with us on YouTube. So head over there if you want to see our shining faces, and see all these facial expressions that go along with our voice. We're there too. But yeah, leave a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts and write something soulful and sweet, and follow us everywhere on social media. We'll be there. And I think that's all the announcements I have for you guys today. We do love and appreciate you.
Yes, thank you all so much. And